Welcome to Cultural Spectrums and Jazz Pearls. I'm your host, Eric Frazier. We have a fantastic program in store for you today. We hope you'll enjoy it.
All right, I turn it over to the band.
afternoon. Do you consider yourself a role model or a hero?
I consider myself a representative, a representative of us, because I know I come from the same place we all come from, and we have ancestors, those who came before us, on whose shoulders we stand, and I feel like I need to be representative of those who came before us, and so I feel like I have a purpose here to represent well.
Okay, thank you. What is your name and what do you do?
Well, I'm Eric Frazier, and I guess I wear many different hats. Today I'm wearing this one. But no, I do different things. I'm an educator, I'm a recording artist, I'm an author, I'm a DJ, and I'm a jazz artist. So I perform all around the country, metropolitan area, and I perform internationally. And I do other things as well, but I'll just leave it at that right now.
Thank you. What is the importance of education?
What is the importance of education? Now, that's a good one. Education teaches people to be cognizant of other people. Education teaches people values that help them to get along in the world with people who are other or different than themselves. Education, it teaches one the value of life, the value of love, the value of having an identity, a place where you know you're from, a culture, having an existence that is supportive of everyone being able to be who they want to be. So that's education. It's that and much more. In fact, I wrote a book on education, and the title of that book is called A New Educational Paradigm. And at the very bottom, it says, well, here, a new educational paradigm, perspectives on education. But at the very bottom, it says, people you thought were educated were trained, not educated. Now, there's a lot of thoughts and concepts in that little one sentence, because sometimes we take for granted that people are working in a job and doing what they're supposed to be doing. But then when it comes out where we have to find out what are the outcomes of their work, we find out the outcomes might not be going with what's supposed to be happening, because maybe they weren't able to do what they were supposed to do. And so we have that a lot in our society or in our culture today, and that is a problem, because at this point, less than half the kids in school are able to read, less than half. And then we have a problem of with adults now, those people who grow up as adults, not having the reading background, not having a background in history, science, and writing, these kind of things in the academics. So they come up with these various different viewpoints and perspectives on life that may not be consistent with everybody living together and doing the best for each other. So, and this is the problems we face right now. If you turn on TV and turn on the news, you're going to see problems with adults who have not matured yet. And that, to me, that's a result of how they've been trained or how they learn. Education. So the difference between someone who is educated and someone who is trained, well, you got a trained person who can sort of learn how to play a guitar. They were trained, they know how to play it. Now, but as far as being able to extend it, to put their own thoughts and their own creativity into it, now that takes a little ingenuity. It takes cognitive thought kind of things going on in the head, where they can do many different things aside from just playing the normal regular melody. And so that is, in a nutshell, an example of someone who is educated. An educated person can take a situation and bring other thoughts into that situation that someone who is trained may not only be able to bring these type of thoughts. For example, a trained person will learn how to do something, and when that situation comes up, they do what they were taught to do. no matter what goes on in the environment around them, they're going to do what they were taught to do. They're going to be trained. Now, an educated person, they're going to look at the environment around them and sort of taper what they're doing to fit the environment. There's a little difference there.
Where did you grow up and what schools did you go to?
Okay, well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I was born in Harlem and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I have a song that talks about that. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Raised in Brooklyn, New York, in the projects, in Gowanus houses there, and that's where I was born. And how? What'd you say? How was I raised? And how was I raised? Okay, well, I was raised in large part by my mom. We had 8 kids in our family. 2 passed away at a young age, and my dad had left. You know, my mom and dad had split. So like many of us today, more than half of the families today have a single parent. So we were like that for many years. So my mom was my example. She finished high school at 14 years old. At that time, that was unheard of. She was very intelligent, creative, and she was, like people talk about being a man's man, somebody that everybody looks up to, men and women. She was a woman's woman, like many of our mothers today. They have to do it all. So we were poor when my dad left. We were poor when my dad left, right? So we had to go on welfare. So my mom had to scrape and make do for us. But one thing I was just thinking about on the way here, we had a meal every day. We always ate, had breakfast, we had dinner, you know. And so we didn't realize we were poor like that because, you know, we could still have fun, we could still laugh when we ate, you know. Our clothes wasn't that bad. I remember Easter, everybody would get new clothes. I didn't have new clothes. I remember this one guy said, "Oh man, you wore that same suit last year." I couldn't get out of it. So yeah, that's how we came up. Like many of us do these days. And so, but she started taking classes at night, government classes they had advertised to take these classes, you can get a government job. She took the classes, and then she worked with one of my older brothers to do her studying. She took the test when it came up for a government worker. She passed the test, but she got the highest mark on the test in New York City, and then had it in the newspaper. So yeah, that was my mom. So after that, she got a government job. Next thing I know, us kids who, we were poor, we started getting a quarter a week allowance. I said, well, what's going on? So my mom started, we started doing a little better. She got that job. We moved out of the projects and moved uptown in this 2-family house. And then after about a couple years, she bought her own house. And then I said, well, first when she got the job, we moved uptown. I said, oh man, I said, things are getting a little more stable as far as, being able to afford things. I said, now I can focus and concentrate on my schoolwork. So when I was in high school, you found me in my apartment with my family. Everybody was doing what they're doing. And I had like a little corner, like that little corner there in the house. There was a table there. I didn't even have a lamp. And I would do my homework every day. Every day. I was just thinking today on the way up here, I said, you know what? All my years in high school, I never missed one day of doing homework. I never missed one day. And I see how it affects things today, because then doing that, you become the type of person that when you have a responsibility, you're going to do it. It's in you. You're going to do it. You're going to do what you need to do.
I like to swing this one real high, but since you're trying to dance, I don't want to do that to you tonight. Somewhere easy, I'll think the truth. Somewhere I'll hide the moon. There is no thing about when love is far away until it comes true. Then you love me, I love you. Somewhere where you are, somewhere that we until it comes true that you love me as I love you. Somewhere in heaven is where you are. Somewhere there's music. How near, how far? The darkest night was dark. Everyone comes to me soon. Until you will be still, my heart, the moon. All right, they're going to negotiate for me. I want to make sure you take a moment to look at the art that's out here, guys. If you do, you're going to want to go home with something. So maybe you don't want to look at it because it's like you're saying it's magnetic. It's magnetic, you want to take it, right? Yeah, but for the art, take a look. There's some great stuff here. So we're going to close out this show.
Tell me something about percussion and how it works.
Percussion and how it works. Well, they often say that percussion, particularly drums, are like the heartbeat. In our bodies, we have the beat of the world. We have the beat of life in our hearts. We have the beat of our soul, the beat of the spirit, the beat of our ancestors. It's in our hearts. You can't stop the beat. Some of the jazz cats say, hey man, don't stop the bebop. Peace, see you later. And that's part of it. It's the heartbeat. So yeah. And so on a lot of festivities that go on around the world all through the years, say for example, say you go back 750,000 years ago, or even more than that, when you found the first people in the world who began in East Africa and South Africa, and then they traveled. If you ever looked at the map, you see you got Africa here, you got the Asia up here, you got what was called the Mediterranean Sea that was right there, but the sea wasn't that much back then. It was all land, and people they would travel from South Africa to East Africa. They would and from East Africa across the water. Across the land. It was all together. And they go into Asia, and they form the Asian empires, and they would go to Alaska empires. They would go into Northwest America and the Indian empires, Cherokee, Comanche, all of those. They would go down to the Caribbean or before you hit South America, you hit the Central America. They go down there. You ever heard of the Aztecs? The Aztecs, they're the ones who developed a calendar that way back in the ancient times, it is still perfect until today. You can look on that calendar and say November 16th, 2022, and they'll have a whole setup. Yeah, they figured it all out back then. Anyway, these cultures come up from, and each one of these cultures, they all had the drum. And so it's the heartbeat of our life, the heartbeat of our world, and the heartbeat of all of our people. That's the importance of the drum, because we use it for communication, we use it for ceremonies, we use it for great moments, and it's a great instrument. For example, if I take this drum right here, let's take this, it's going to give you different sounds. Now, this sound right here, that is what's called a tone. This sound right here, that is what's called a pitch. It's a high pitch. And this sound right here, that's the bass. So those are three basic sounds. You have the tone, the pitch, and the bass. And these are all sounds that come from the drum. And with these sounds, we got prepared for hunting, we got prepared for war, we got prepared for marriage, we got prepared for births, deaths, and so on. So that's a little bit about the drum.
Okay, thank you. What are the names of these instruments and where do they come from?
Okay, well you have so many different instruments that come from various parts of the world. I'm going to say this drum right here. First let's start from the beginning, which is, this is dondo. You see this drum right here? This is a djembe. That's a djembe drum, and that generally comes from Africa. Okay, and in different parts of Africa, they have different types of djembe drums. Okay, you have Central Africa, you have West Africa, you have East Africa. That's a djembe drum. This drum is a dundun drum, and it has a bass sound that gives you a really nice sound, and you know. And then this one is even deeper. These are dundun drums, and they come from various parts of Africa. Now, but this drum, this is standing up, I think. Now this drum here, once we got to South America and Central America, they began to put a little steel on the drums, and the drums became different. And so, but the latest drum And the most recent drum is the steel drum, which was made out of steel. They call them steel pans, but they were steel drums. And these drums, the brothers and sisters who were in the Caribbean were able to get these drums that were just left floating in the ocean from the world wars after they took the oil from it. And they carved it in to make it a beautiful instrument. A little bit about the drums.
Can you please demonstrate how to play these instruments?
Yes, and as I said before, we talked about the 3 different sounds, right? And these different sounds are played differently and with different types of music. For example, when you talk about say African music, African drumming music, a lot of times you hear what is called a 6/8. Or you might hear. And you might hear chanting with the jingle, jingle bop, jingle, jingle bop, jingle bop, jingle bop, jingle bop, jingle bop. Okay? And then now also you could hear, say for example, in hip hop or in R&B music, you might hear this one.
Stanley Banks. You having fun, y'all? It's all right to clap. Feel it, feel it. Someone is you. I intend to be independent. Say, hey, hey, won't you love? Don't wanna borrow. Having the day to give back tomorrow. Your love is my love. My love is your love. There'll be no love for nobody else. Nobody else. And then this bitter won't be so bitter after all. This bitter. Well, what fruit it bears. Somebody tell me what good is love that nobody wants to share. Well, if my life is like the dust, it hides the glow of a rose. Tell me what good am I? Heaven only knows. Oh, this bitter. Yeah. Yes, it's so cold. Today we are young, but too soon we grow old. But while the boys within me cry, I'm sure that he will answer my call. This bitter earth, well, it may not be so bitter after all. Let's spread some love, y'all. We got to walk you dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, in keeping with our Baptist church ministry here, that was our devotional. Now, we used to have a thing where we get up and walk around and meet and hug each other. We're not going to do that now. We're almost out of it, but we're not quite out of it yet. But I have a substitute. I would like each of you to at least turn to your left and right and give your neighbor a fist bump. No smacking, just a little light fist bump.
Doesn't touch somebody's hand.
Yeah, touch somebody, reach out, touch
Make
somebody.
this world a better place.
And then I want you also to kind of wave your arms here. That's for our streaming community. Johnson, you got them waving there? Okay. That's for our streaming community all over the world who stream in and watch this. So now we're going to have, I want to formally thank you for coming, because you remember I told you a few minutes ago how I always get this anxiety about nobody's going to show up? Boom, this is what happens. So my colleague, Kevin Harrell, is going to come in and introduce the band formally. A round of applause, please.
How y'all doing? Isn't that, they're swinging, huh? Yeah. All right. I want to acknowledge someone here. I'm going to go a little bit off script. This place that we have here at Lafayette St. James is an amazing place with some amazing people. Some people that do big things in a humble and modest way. We're here celebrating, listening to the music jazz this afternoon, Jazz and Jesus, and I want to acknowledge a person who is an EBC member who just did an amazing thing in the world of jazz. I want to acknowledge Gwendolyn Quinn, who recently was one of the people that out of Atlanta a few weeks ago, there was the first annual Jazz Music Awards, the first award show that celebrated, or that will celebrate jazz that will be televised and streamed on a worldwide basis. They honored both old heads and newbies, done out of the auspices of WCLK, which is the radio station owned by Clark College, which I am fortunate enough to be one of their former announcers. And Gwendolyn helped put it all together. We have to keep this music alive. People say jazz is dead, but it is not. Trust me, it is not. Now on to these amazing, amazing, amazing musicians that are treating us to some of the world's best this afternoon. First, on drums, we have a young man, Jared Walzer. It says here. Says here that Jared Walzer is a musician that brings vibrant sensitivity and rich nuances to an expressive style on the drums that is refreshing. His ease and versatility in several genres, jazz, rock, R&B, the blues, and funk, has made him a highly sought-after drummer, so highly sought after that he'll be playing tomorrow at a place at Rutgers University, Clements Place, which if you ever get out to Essex County, it's free. It's put on by Rutgers University, and it's an amazing place to hear the music. What started out as an inquisitive, playful orchestration on pots and pans at the age of 3, one might know those days, grew into a passion. Jared's first love has always been jazz. This allure commenced at the age of 11 when he began studying at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, NJPAC, Wachovia Jazz for Teens program in 2001. Jared is an artful musician that is only at the genesis of his career, and the best is yet to come. Jared Walzer. Debbie sure knows how to get the best people to play with her. Yeah. All right. This man, if you have seen ever since, I was actually listening to my car last night to this masquerade when I was driving back from the rehearsal last night. And if you have ever had the pleasure of seeing George Benson in the last many years, you will have seen a man standing tall, playing the bass, keeping the rhythm, with a tambourine at his foot. It's probably one of the longest running gigs that I can even think of somebody playing. I mean, there's guys in the Rolling Stones that didn't last that long. You know. And I told him, don't come here without that tambourine. Bass guitarist Stanley Banks is a Brooklynite. He's a winner of multiple platinum and gold albums, and he's a member of the Brooklyn Jazz Hall of Fame. Stanley began playing the bass while in high school, but his real music education came from playing in the clubs along Fulton Street and Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn. The incomparable Stanley Banks on bass. Similarly, I went to the same Brooklyn high schools, but didn't learn the grammar as well as he learned the bass. If you had seen Natalie Cole since the 1970s, you would notice something that was very unique to Natalie Cole that was even beyond her own personal talents. And that is that Natalie Cole was one of the first people to have a woman as her MD, yes. Which even today is not, unfortunately still is not as prevalent as it should be. Aziza Miller is an award-winning composer, musical director and piano. As I mentioned, notably, Aziza was Nat Cole's first female musical director and pianist starting in 1975. So, Mr. Melody jumped through it. I forget all that stuff. If you've seen Natalie, I've seen her in stadiums and in theaters, and this woman was there. They continued working together off and on until 2015 when Ms. Cole passed away. As a music educator, she received the Presidential Scholar Distinguished Teacher Award from President Bill Clinton, and she was the music teacher of multi-Grammy Award winner Alicia Keys, and Star Search winner and Broadway star Marty Thomas. Coming up, you may know if you ever go to the Upper West Side, in Manhattan, there's a nice spot called the Sugar Bar that was opened by Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson, continued on with Valerie. I'm still operating and running it. It is a good hang. And on December 16th of this year, in a couple of weeks, Aziza, with the help of Valerie's brother Jimmy Simpson, will be recording her new project live at the Sugar Bar, and you're all welcome to attend. Aziza Miller. So, before getting from in front of you guys and you know, taking up your time, I want to talk about my friend Debbie Carter. When Ike and Jeff, I believe, first started Jazz Festival, before I was on the committee, one of the first Jazz Festivals that happened was Naomi Johnson, our own Naomi Johnson, and Clark. At the time, I didn't actually really know either of the two, but I knew who Naomi was, because if you've seen Naomi just is like, and this is not taking anything away from Debbie, but Naomi's like just has this vibe. It's like one of the coolest vibes that you've ever seen. Plus, she used to be in the Bank of America commercial, so I knew who she was, right? And people kept saying, "You have to see Debbie Carter." I'm like, "Who is this Debbie Carter?" It's like they were like, "You don't know Debbie Carter from Total Praise?" No, I don't know who Debbie Carter is. So anyway, so I came, and I became aware of the talents of both of them. Then, friendship. And Debbie was like, "Well, Kevin, I do a Nina Simone thing. I want to do a Nina Simone thing, right?" So, was like, Nina Simone needs more exposure. And Ike and I put together a thing where we brought Debbie privately to the Brooklyn Music School, and Debbie did a wonderful Nina Simone tribute. If she ever does it again, I do recommend that you check it out. And we've truly become friends. Debbie is prone to WhatsApp you jokes or information or whatever. And it's like, Debbie, I'm in America. You can just send through on a regular text. But it says here that Debbie is a tenor who can easily glide 2 octaves, down 2 octaves to bass. She is a soloist, songwriter, and a member of the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, better known as ASCAP, which, if you're a songwriter, is one of the organizations that helps you get your loot. She has written several gospel and jazz tunes. She has performed nationally and internationally with the Total Praise Choir of Emmanuel Baptist Church, performing all genres of music. She has also performed as a member of Focosa, an a cappella vocal ensemble composed of South African and African American women, in the off-Broadway production of I Sing for Freedom, which received highly acclaimed reviews in the New York Times and Inside Broadway publication. It says most recently, but it's not really recent, it's been going on for a while, that Ms. Carter has performed with the Brooklyn interdenominational choir under the leadership of Frank Hay, who most people who've been around EBC for a while know who Frank Hay is. And she's performed as a soloist with BIC at Prospect Park Summer Stage, at the Brooklyn Academy of Music for the annual Martin Luther King celebration, the Christmas celebration at St. Patrick Cathedral, and the United Nations. Over the last few years, Ms. Carter was featured, actually was talking about a concert at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, at the Brooklyn School of Music, where she presented a tribute to the legendary Nina Simone. Debbie also performs as a solo jazz artist throughout the tri-state area in nightclubs and private affairs. Our own EBC, let's give it up for Debbie Carter.
All right. Debbie, it's all yours. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, thank you for watching. Don't forget, tune in next week to Cultural Spectrums and Jazz Pearls. Same time, same station. Until then, peace be.